Hey guys, there's something new coming to this industry. It's kind of the digital revolution. I just have seen a great video by Glenn Fricker, and it's about the NAM Player 2. I have talked about that a little bit in my thoughts on the bike, which is a video you can watch on this channel here already. But I think Glenn did a beautiful job in explaining where we are in the digital world when it comes to guitar gear. I'm just so happy that I'm not in the digital side. I do analog stuff, even though it's digitally controlled, which is a totally different thing. But when we look at what's going on there, it's revolutionary. So let's watch Glenn's video. I give you some comments here.
In the beginning, there was the Axifix, and it was good, but it got clobbered by the Kemper, which got hammered by the Helix, which was crushed by the Quad Cortex. The competition is brutal, and they all sound amazing, especially that Quad Cortex. And at $1,800, it had better sound amazing. Because if you're working a shit job for shit wages, you are going to need a credit card to afford one of those wonder boxes. And credit card companies absolutely love new debt slaves like you. But what if I told you that there's brand new tech that just beat all of them in a blind listening test? And it's so efficient that it will run on a $3 microchip, and it just napalmed the entire amp sim industry.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Well, you just heard it, because that clip was a Quad Cortex and something else. Did you even notice?
Yeah, let's talk about the amp simulation revolution. Glenn put it on a timeline with the stuff that showed up on the market from the first Line 6, the Red Bean, and some high quality digital modeling devices like Fractal. I have to mention that I was also doing a high quality amp with using Kettner, the Zentera, in the year 2000. So I'm familiar with modeling technology. And I also have done a plug-in together with Steinberg. I know the obstacles in the digital world, and I know, of course, the benefits, because if you use plugins on your computer in your DAW, and if you go direct with a guitar somewhere, well, it's all contained in, the laptop in your production machine. And that's kind of handy. On the other hand, I'm a live gigging musician. And for me, the feel of the guitar is as important as the sound that people hear. So to me, from my experience, there's a few things that the digital world will get better at, has been getting better at. Everybody is claiming, no, we have it, it's 100% exactly like the original. Well, I don't believe that. That's why I do my MX, because it's all analog, and I knew that digital technology is evolving, and it's getting to like a killer level, and it's now at the stage where it's really, really good, and it gives you especially an easy, great direct sound. But the thing on stage is a different thing, because even people with like X-Effects playing live, they call me and ask when the MX is ready because they are missing something. Okay, for those who don't hear or feel the difference, I'm happy, because live is good and cheap now. You can get it for free with an NAM file, which you can download on a software, and you're good to go. And by the way, I'm a good friend with Glenn. Yeah, this was when he was checking out the Iridium at some summer NAM in 2019. And he was even giving me some advice for my metal amps. So I highly respect people like Glenn with his experience as a producer, sound designer. He builds his own IRs. And as he mentioned in his video, he has been recording bands for ages, which is it's all good. I also have high respect for this gentleman here, my dear friend Christoph Kemper, who invented kind of that technology, the cloning or capturing or profiling, which is technology that comes very, very handy, was another revolution. And Christoph, by the way, he was already doing the first revolution on synthesizers. When he had his Access Virus keyboard, he had done something similar to what I do here. He had created a analog modeler for keyboards, and that was kind of revolutionary back in the, was it late 90s? I don't even remember. But let's go back for Glenn Fricker's video, because you should watch it. Let me give you a couple of comments here.
Hi there, I'm Glenn Fricker, and I've been recording bands professionally since 1998. Now, I've seen a lot of tech come and go over the years, and I've wasted a small fortune on gear that made very big promises and failed miserably at delivering those promises. And in the beginning, amp sounds were fucking terrible because I fell for the marketing too. I bought myself a Line 6 mod thinking, oh, this is gonna solve everything. This is gonna make my life easier. This will get me the sounds that I'm after. Yeah, I returned it the same day I bought it. What an absolute piece of shit. Then in 2011, the Kempers showed up and it was genuinely impressive. Now, there were amp sims you could run on your computer during this whole time. Amp Farm, Guitar Rig, Amplitude, Revolver, and probably hundreds.
Guitar Rig, one of my Marshalls is in there because I have worked with them as well. Native Instruments, Amp Farm. 50-watt Plexi of mine, it's in Amp Farm.
In terms of quality, they range from fucking horrible to, maybe they're okay. Software was where Good Tone went to die. That is until 2018. A little company called Neural DSP dropped the Fort Nameless, an amp sim plugin that actually sounded really good. Remember that name, Neural DSP. It's going to matter in about 10 seconds. Because in 2021, that same company released the current champ, the Quad Cortex. Great capture, sure, but the interface itself was killed. Foot switches that doubled as rotary encoders, plus a touchscreen. Now, after a decade of programming amp tones like you're defrosting a hot dog, somebody finally built the damn thing right. Technology has finally arrived, but this is where things start going horribly wrong.
So the point is, modeling has improved. And I totally agree on the steps because I've been there from the first step to the last step. And from what I heard, played myself, everything is kind of good, and it doesn't matter. It is the most convenient device if you play multiple sounds, if you go direct for the PA, if you are on a big production, you have a reliable sound quality. Me personally, I was always missing the feel. And that's something, even if we are talking Quad Cortex or the best modeling, IKEA multimedia or whatnot, and even if the modeling is getting better, it is playing the sound through a full range studio monitor. It's not the same thing like playing a guitar cabinet. And to me, the electric guitar is that thing. Of course, Glenn is a recording engineer and producer, so he focuses on the sound that he gets on tape or recorded, the direct sound. The sound from what you hear on stage is a different thing. If you have a real guitar speaker on stage, it's still my favorite way to listen to guitar. And nothing will, in my opinion, ever beat that. There are alternative ways with in-ear monitors, with full range cabinets, and they are having some advantages and some disadvantages. It's a different thing. Let's say it works for some people and whoever is happy is fine. But I believe something in this electric guitar sound should still be the real deal. If we start to make compromises too much, I know we have competition by AI music. We have a lot of things that take out the original qualities that used to exist. Imagine back in the day when you had your amp, maybe one channel amp, and you played just one tone and you build up your whole entire style with one sound. Let's talk Angus Young. Let's talk all the big guys. Let's talk, Gary Moore. How many presets would he load? How many reverbs and stuff he would do? You can hear hands on a guitar with an amp, and that's the magic. And if you go into the universe of hundreds of different sounds, that's a thing that became popular by top 40 bands. But I'm not, that's a philosophy, but I'm personally not that guy that supports the philosophy that every sound needs to be 100% like the original. Better be yourself, have your sound, feel great with that, and work with what you got in your hands, because that's you. But that's me talking as an artist and an amp designer that builds amps for artists. But let's go back for the fact that you want to have a versatile system. Still, you have to get good sounds. And when you think about an amp, a classic amp, you have your Fender amp, your Marshall amp, or a BluGuitar amp. You do have like a tone stack. You have a gain control, and these are just a few little knobs, and you work with those. And let's say the limitation of that forces you to do your thing with that and makes you maybe work a little harder, but this is where your personality will shine. So, all this kind of automatic driving, the evolution in technology is nice on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's like, you have to go to the gym because you don't move anymore. Back in the days, people were working on fields and walking, and now you have your Apple Watch that tells you have to go another 8,000 steps. There's always two sides for that. And it's a philosophy thing. I think if we get too lazy, we lose something. That's my philosophy. But back to the technology. In this section, he talks about how subscription models make the most money for the companies, and which is kind of not fair. I hate it too. I mean, all this kind of Adobe suites and things like that. Let's watch a little bit here.
Because if everything is good enough, nobody needs to buy anything new. And the one thing Silicon Valley will never accept is the money faucet being turned off. So back in 2013, Adobe had an idea that changed everything. What if you never owned Photoshop again? What if instead of buying software, you just paid rent forever? And it worked. Now there's a subscription for every piece of crap that you don't need. Now, if you're recording at home, well, they already came for your software. Case in point, I've got a bunch of Waves plugins that I bought a few years ago, paid for them, and I honestly can't tell you if they're supposed to work anymore. I wish I was kidding. Between the licenses, the versions, and the Waves update plan, the whole thing is so fucking confusing that after 25 years in this business, I can't answer a simple question. Do I even own my own tools? And here's the thing. That confusion is not by accident. It's the business model. Make ownership so complicated that you just pay the yearly fee to make the anxiety go away. Nice mix you got there. Shame if those plugins didn't open when you needed them to. And in 2023, Waves really went for the throat. They killed ownership completely. Subscription only. Mm-hmm. Now, the backlash was so brutal, they reversed it in days. But they showed you exactly who they are and exactly where all of this is going. But don't lose hope. Because if you're a guitar player, a brand new piece of tech just dropped that's open source, runs on the hardware that you already own, and will match or beat every single high-end amp sim on the market. And I'm going to show...
Okay, this is coming next. But back to the subscription model. We do the Amp X, and we offer the amp sounds of our amps, Amp 1 Mercury and Amp 1 Iridium, as well as the basic effects package. We will sell you extra amps like a Dumble, like my old Vox AC30, like very, very special amps. And these amps, we have to manually, with a team of engineers, recreate on our platform to be able to have we are able to have the original amp with the original settings recreated on that amp X. That takes a lot of time, a lot of money, and therefore we will ask a payment. But that's not a subscription model. You will own that. So together with the serial number of this particular amp X, you will have your Vox AC30, and this will belong to you forever. So there is not a monthly fee or some kind of bullshit, because I hate this kind of business model myself. And we need to have that kind of money income to be able to do that on the analog domain. We are working on the analog amps, analyzing them, recreating them on the analog amp X with a lot of digital control processes. That's why we have a neural analog amplifier system with amp X. And I don't want to make compromises, and especially not when it comes to sound. And therefore, my point is, I cannot give that away for free, because when I would give that away for free, I would not have a budget to make proper sounds. And I want this piece of gear to live for a long time and have our future analog, digitally controlled format for the next 10 years. And again, I hate the digital devaluation, the race to the bottom kind of mentality where things get cheaper, cheaper, cheaper. It's great for the user. And this is what's happening now with the A2. There is no money involved anymore. You can have a great guitar sound with no money. It's possible. And I can see some manufacturers going for the NAMM players, and they will all end up in the end at the cheapest and best hardware producers. And these guys will be the Chinese. It will not be an American company. It will not be European companies anymore. So the NAMM players will end up somewhere where manufacturing is the most efficient, and that's China. And that's an aspect of this will kill the digital part of this industry, because if there is no money to be made by creating digital products, why should you? I mean, a company is by law forced to make a profit. It's not that the guys get super rich, but between being bankrupt and existing, there's a law that you have to make some profit. Otherwise, you will be cancelled from the tax department. But anyway, here he talks about this new
exactly how it does it. Now, unless you've been living under a rock or just happen to play bass, you've probably heard of Neural Amp Modeler, the free open source amp sim that's been giving plugin companies nightmares since 2019. Well, on June 2nd, 2026, NAMM went completely scorched earth with the release of Architecture 2, or A2 for short. The goals were simple: capture the amp more accurately and run way more efficiently. So Tone 3000 ran a blind test, over 1,000 listeners, BBC grade methodology. NAMM A2 didn't just beat Neural DSP, Tone X, and Line 6, it scored a perfect 100, meaning nobody could tell it from the real. It didn't beat the competition, it tied with reality. Whoa. And A2 Lite runs on a $3 ARM chip. $3 That's not even a coffee anymore. If you did pay thousands of dollars for one of those boxes, I can see why this might be slightly upsetting. But that's the risk when you buy technology.
And that's a good point. I have seen the prices drop a lot for digital products. I mean, this is a digital product. This is a laptop. I have a lot of products that came to the market over the last 30 years, which are digital, which have been used. I mean, it's just like every generation of the phone, every 2 years you buy a new phone, and you lose a lot of money. You buy it for whatever, $1,000 or euros, and after 2 years, it's not even half the money anymore. That's what I learned in the digital world. In the analog world, I learned that most of the stuff is either worth nothing because nobody even looks at it anymore, or is becoming a classic because it's great. It is timeless. It is something that you connect with, that you feel with. I know you connect with your whatever old iPhone or your even older iPhone, but when you look at this, you never connect with it as much as I did with my old guitars and with my old amps. On the other hand, I totally agree. I'm not going on stage with my old amps anymore. They are references, and when you watch my A/B comparisons, I can prove that my amp 1 even does come very close to it. And that's in feel as well, because it's analog. There is no conversion, there is no latency, there is no compromise, because it's using the same technology as a real tube amp, analog technology. And as I said, if you don't feel it, if you don't hear it, I'm happy for you, because you will get there without any budget. Yeah. The thing about the digital technology definitely is the danger of devaluation is super, super high. And my question now is, I appreciate that there is something like that which gives every player an access to a great direct sound, but this is the story when he tells about the old school photo cameras disappearing, which is the thing. But in my opinion, there is a gap between the modelers and the digital products and the old school tube amps, and that's why I have done this Amp X, and that's why I have done Amp 1. And I'm talking, I had that vision 10 already. I knew I didn't want to invest in the super old school technology, and I knew I didn't want to invest in the digital technology. As we all can see, that stuff now is in danger of being worthless. So I wouldn't found a company and make a business into a sinking ship, so to speak. Anyway, there is a section where he actually is doing A/B between the quad cortex, kind of a high quality model capturing device, plus 1800 or whatever it costs versus the software, and like he says, there's like no difference. Let's listen to that.
Capture through both systems, and I did full mixes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run them back to back, label them A, B, and I want you to tell me in the comments below which one you think sounds best. Hit it! So what'd you think? Tell you what, let's break it down here for a second. I did a couple of frequency response graphs. We've got NAMM A2 in the blue, and we've got the quad cortex in the green. At least it looks like green to me. I'm personally colorblind.
Yeah, as you can see, there are minor differences in the frequency spectrum. I think these are audible, these are important, but it's not the major thing. And probably the NAMM software sounds even better. At least this is my impression. So, come on. Yeah. Then they play a few other sounds with it, which also sound cool. But me personally, I believe it is a very cool thing, but I have never had the feeling like playing a real guitar amp. Anything direct sounds great, but feels weird. Play a real amp, and you know what I mean. It's just like playing a real drum kit, and you could build stuff with modeling that does that does drive a real guitar speaker, and then has a separate path for going direct. That might come as well. It's not there yet. And a lot of people have done this with their campers or with their quad cortexes, having a real amp and using that in combination. But the fact for really being live on stage, competing with a real drum kit, is most guys that play modelers that I know, that are picky, that know the good old tube amps, they go and have something there that gives them the beef, the meat, and the feel. I'm talking about feel and tone, Stratocaster single coils, and here we go. Yeah, it's dynamic, it's touch sensitive, you know. And that's even at low volume. So this is why analog is king. I don't know if anybody else can tell, but it makes a difference for the player. And that's, to me, a different point, and a very important point. Yeah. So all I can say is this thing here is designed to be usable just like a modeler, but being all analog. Everything that is possible to do analog is being done analog. And therefore, I can preserve like the puristic sound quality that I'm after. And that's my product. And I will see a lot of people in the future coming, well, this is so expensive and this is not even giving you 2,000 sounds and effects and stuff like that, because we can't. And the reason for that is not because we are stupid. No, we do, let's say, the organic analog way. We do it that way. And in the digital world, you can get stuff too very cheap. And I wish everybody in this industry best of luck with this projects and products they are doing, because it would be not good if we see the industry collapse in a way like there's only Chinese NAM player companies and no real amp brand with a real character anymore. Who's doing the originals? Where are the sound designers? I mean, even people like Dave Friedman, Soldano, people that created sounds, we need them as well. I mean, in the digital world, everything is recreation. And of course, you can create something on the level of something recreated, but it's like, yeah, we're entering into this philosophy side of things. For me, things have to come from people, and people are most authentic when they are challenged a bit. And if you are only pressing a preset and play a few notes, we all will sound too much the same, I believe. And that's what I miss in the modern world. And that's what I know it did exist in the old analog world, because I knew how we had to work the tone, how we had to create the sounds. And if you are just pressing a button, everything is there. I think we are missing on something that makes us musicians special. And therefore, I look at this with one eye happy and smiling, and the other side is like, I hope not that we are not losing even more of the magic that an electric guitar can do for you. And this thing is so analog, metal under your fingers with wood. And we have so much fun doing these things. It would be not a good moment if we would lose the magic. And some of that magic comes from basic stuff, from the roots. Let's keep the guitar alive. Cheers.